Thank you. So hi everyone, welcome to today's collab. Today we're going to be talking about how to brag about yourself, more specifically too for like Titan Link and resume and all that. So we'll go through that in a minute. So just to share with you all the mission statement and outcomes of the Office of Student Life and Leadership. We provide support and foster community engagement. We empower students through involvement, leadership, and co-curricular learning opportunities to enhance their Titan experience. So through this, students will be able to develop leadership skills related to their involvement within their org and will be able to have a Titan experience related to their involvement with co-curricular opportunities at CSUF. This is just a brief overview of our staff. We know you all don't really get to see people in person, so we like to show this image. I won't go through everyone because it's a lot of people, but Elisa is our interim director of student life and leadership. Samwed is assistant director of fraternity and sorority life. Jordan is our fraternity and sorority life coordinator. Gleanne, who is here, is the student organization coordinator. Xiao Pan is our sports club coordinator. Heidi is our community service and leadership coordinator, and Ashley is our admin support coordinator. We also have lots of grads in the office and student assistants. And actually we have new interns. Haley, who is here, is one of our interns. So this is our team. Student life and leadership is broken up into 6 different categories or branches. So we have campus activities, community service programs, clubs and organizations, fraternity and sorority life, leadership programs, and sports clubs. So before we get started, I kind of want to share with you what you should be able to get out of today's presentation. So through this, you should be able to understand and describe the Tuffy Award nomination process. You should be able to articulate an element of your Titan experience into at least one bullet point on your resume, and you'll be able to understand the difference between duties and accomplishments. So we're going to start off with talking about Tuffy Awards. We'll then move into your resume, and then we'll do an activity. It's not super interactive given our space, but it's more just like walk you through resume building. So Tuffy Awards, sorry, this isn't fancy, but just save the date is Thursday, May 6th, 12 p.m. This will be streamed via YouTube and everyone's invited. So given that we're on a YouTube platform, all like members of your organization are invited. And also if you want someone to see it who's not part of CSUF, you can definitely send that link. So Thursday, May 6th. So what does Tuffy Awards look like? Normally in person, it looks a lot different, but virtually, this is what it looks like. We'll have a lot of engagement through our Instagram account. These are pictures from last year. There was also a stream for Tuffy Awards, which will be on our YouTube channel. That's our YouTube channel page. So this is kind of the virtual world of Tuffy Awards. So there's different awards. We have individual awards. So there's 4 different individual awards. There's Advisor of the Year, Outstanding Advocate, President of the Year, and Titans Leaving Legacies. Group awards is Student Organization of the Year, which actually comes with a $250 scholarship. Emergent Organization of the Year, which also comes with a $250 scholarship, and Titans in Action. And then we also have program awards. So there's Collaborative Virtual Program of the Year, Virtual Program of the Year. I don't know if those are both supposed to be there, but Outstanding Program and Member Development, Virtual Engagement Award, Alumni Engagement Award, which also is new this year and has a $100 scholarship tied to it, and a graphic and designs competition. So there's a lot of awards and it would be a lot to explain every single one. But if you check out our Titan Link article, which I don't know if you can find that link for me, Gleanne, I have it pulled up, but just to avoid the screen sharing stopping, when you go to our Tuffy Awards Titan Link article, you'll actually be able to see each award kind of described out. And so this is the best way I recommend on learning about each award and what you need for it. Once you kind of get the gist of it, you can actually click each the award you want to apply to, and it'll take you to a page, which I'll show in a minute, which is a lot more in detail. That's the way I recommend figuring out when you're submitting a nomination or want to nominate yourself. I think the best way to do it is through the Titan Link article. It's just the most clear way to do it. But if you don't want to do it that way, you can also just go to forms. And in the forms, you'll see all the different categories we have, and you can apply that way. And so the form itself looks like this. I just picked one, but there's a form for each award. So this, for example, is a Tuffy Awards 2021 Student Organization of the Year. And here we'll talk, it tells you like what you need to be nominated or to nominate yourself. There's also a couple writing tips and whatnot here. Keep in mind the deadline for awards is Monday, April 19th at 8 a.m. So you still have time, but we suggest just getting it done as soon as you can so you can start thinking about this if you want to nominate people, if someone's going to nominate you. Yeah. And then the actual nomination application looks something like this. So we'll ask for the name of the organization or the name of the organization you're nominating, an Instagram account, and then there'll be different questions. We'll also ask you to upload an image of the organization. This is so we can use it throughout our Tough U Word programming. And if you have any other things to upload, like a letter of recommendation or letter of support, a news article you want us to see, whatever it is, you can also attach it to your application. We'll also, in that same application, ask for a photo release, just as I mentioned earlier, because this is a virtual program, we want to be able to show pictures of your organization. So we do need your consent to have that photo release. And then we'll also collect your information on affiliation to the organization because we want to be able to mail out items to you all. And so this is just for us to have that information. So now we're going to go over a few steps on how to build your resume. This is helpful for you, but also as you're thinking about Tough U Awards and how to showcase your accomplishments. And so reflecting on your Titan experience, it's important to realize how the things you're doing now can be translated to your resume. So this information is pulled from the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And these are different competencies that employers are looking at for recent college grads or those who have college degrees. So the number one thing they're looking for is critical thinking and problem solving skills, followed by teamwork and collaboration. They also look at work ethic, analytical and quantitative skills, communication skills, and leadership. So for the purpose of today and the involvement you all have, we're going to look at critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, and leadership. So this is a definition as that is stated through the National Association of Colleges and Employers. Everything I talk about comes from them. So I'm not just making this up, it's coming from somewhere. Critical thinking and problem solving is described as being able to exercise sound reasoning. So analyzing issues, making decisions, overcoming problems to obtain, interpret, and use knowledge, facts, and data in the process, and demonstrate originality and inventiveness. So you can reflect on your own experience from your student organizations and think about how you would write this in a resume or in a cover letter to show this competency. So for example, one second. I messed up my own presentation. Well, while I try to fix my technical difficulty, does anyone have an example of a way their organization has used this competency or think of how this can, okay, got it. If anyone does have an example, wants to share, you can put that in the chat or you can just unmute yourself and share. But I can share an example of something I've noticed. So right now, when we think about where we're at, something that comes to mind is like being in a virtual environment and trying to engage members. So how have you overcome this problem of low engagement? What have you done to engage your members differently? So something I've seen orgs do is doing Instagram takeovers. So they are solving a problem by engaging their members through social media, finding new ways to interact with them. There's a fancier way to write that in a resume, but even those small things that you don't think are big, they take critical thinking and problem solving skills. You're not just coming up with these solutions out of nowhere. So it's being able to recognize the experiences you've had in your student leadership positions. So the next one is teamwork and collaboration. And this is something you all do a lot, especially in a leadership position. Whether you hold the position or you're just part of the club, there's always room for teamwork and collaboration. So essentially the way this is described is to build collaborative relationships which represent diversity. This they describe diversity as between cultures, races, ages, genders, religions, lifestyles, and viewpoints. Work within team structure, and negotiate and manage conflict. So again, the same question can be posed. What experiences from your student organization could you write about in a resume or cover letter that involves this competency? So for a lot of organizations, I know there's like large events you have, right? So it's coming up with how you're going to work in a team to do that. Specifically, I've seen cross collaboration between organizations. So for example, in this virtual environment, collaborating could be a little bit more challenging, but also easier, right? Because you can host an event on Zoom and invite different organization members to be in a space with you. When we think about, for example, fundraising, I've seen a lot of fundraising cards where multiple organizations are all contributing to this fundraiser. So that's important because you're creating collaboration opportunity, but it also involves teamwork because there's a lot of moving pieces to it. And ultimately you're contributing to something bigger, right? So we'll talk about that a little later when it comes to actually forming these bullet points, but that's an example. Does anyone have an example of something they've done in their organization or of a time when they use collaboration?
Sorry, I'm eating at the same time as watching this presentation.
No worries.
But the PMC, we put together our Halloween and our holiday party together with Poly Squad and Women in Animation. So basically, the three of us, the three clubs, like all three presidents assigned different roles to our event coordinators and advertisers and different positions, and we all, took equal share of organizing the events, and then we all co-led it all together. So there was a lot of, weekly planning meetings that we held every week, just to make sure everyone was on track. And I think that might be a good example, hopefully.
Yeah, that's super great. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
And again, we'll talk about like building that out, but something like that is where you start, right? You talk about what you did, who you collaborated with, and why. And as we get to the resume activity, we can talk a little bit more about like how exactly can we translate this to a bullet point or something we're going to showcase as an accomplishment. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay. Cool. So the next one is leadership. And this is, a lot of you are student leaders. So it's how do you showcase that, right? So this is described as being able to leverage the strengths of others to achieve common goals, use interpersonal skills and help others develop, assess and manage personal and others' emotions, use empathetic skills to guide and motivate, and lastly, organize, prioritize, and delegate work. And so again, if anyone can think or reflect of experiences that they've had within their student organization that you could write about in a resume or cover letter that involves this competency. So for my organization in undergrad, this is something we did a lot in terms of delegating. So I was actually a student leader too, and we used to have annual retreats, and that was a large event catering to probably about 100 people, but you had a low budget. So it was a matter of distributing the work into different committees. So that's like where leadership comes into play, right? It's who's going on what committee, what tasks do you give them, how do you delegate this work? That's just one example. Sorry, I'm like trying to look at the chat. Oh no, trying to look at the chat too. Does anyone else have an example of how they've displayed leadership or think they could use leadership to talk about how they can highlight an experience of their leadership? Okay, that's okay, but just reflect on it. This will be really helpful, especially when we're thinking about Tuffy Awards. How can you really show the way you were a leader or led a team? And so something I want to talk to you all about really briefly is just duties and accomplishments, like what is the difference and why that matters. And so duty is what you did. You can think about a duty as something on a job description, right? They're telling you, here are all the things you're going to do. So you're going to respond to emails, you're going to put on a programming event, stuff like that. Those are all just duties that are list. Accomplishments or how well you did it. So this is really important because you don't want to just list the things that are you're supposed to do. You really want to showcase how well you did it and what you added to it, what you brought to it. So when you're building a resume or when you're building something like your nomination, you really want to make sure you're showcasing how well you all accomplished something. So now we'll move into like this whole let's build your resume activity. Normally I would have you all kind of try to do this yourselves and like build it out. But given this little virtual environment, I'll kind of just walk through one example. And then if someone wants to share at the end, we can do that. So in the chat, there is a doc. There should be a doc about how to brag. It's called How to Brag About Yourself. It's titled the name of this workshop, but you'll have this chart in there too. And so you can use this for Tuffy Awards and beyond Tuffy Awards. I think this is a really good layout. So you first want to think about what did you do? And again, what did you do are your duties, responsibilities, projects. Next, you want to think about how you did it. Did you have any tools you needed, resources, technology? How did it happen? You then want to make sure to elaborate with details. So how often, what was the purpose, what was involved? And it's super important to use numbers when you can. Not everything can be quantified with numbers, but when you have numbers, it's really helpful. And lastly, you want to talk about what were the results. So what did you accomplish? What did you improve? Did you meet or exceed a goal? Did you create something new? And again, using numbers with results is super helpful. So now I'll kind of walk you through an example. I'm using an example that was used in previous years, but I think it's really helpful and effective to follow this one. So we can look at a fundraising chair, right? So a lot of organizations have a fundraising chair or a treasurer, or someone who's managing this. So in this case, the fundraising chair's role is to raise funds for organization for events, educational workshops, conferences, and charitable causes. So that's what they're doing. How they did it is they led the fundraising committee to establish goals, communicate to outside organizations about their club's purpose. Elaborating with details is they held bi-monthly committee meetings. They had 3 fundraising activities each semester. They had a goal of $2,500 each semester, and they coordinated with the marketing chair to promote their fundraising efforts. So the results of this is that they raised $5,500 last year, coordinated 3 restaurant fundraisers, 2 bake sales, 1 t-shirt sale, exceeded their fundraising goal, and allowed 30 more students to participate in conference. So this is a really good way just to get all your thoughts and ideas together. It's super easy to just tell someone what you did, but to elaborate and tell them how you did it and what you accomplished through that kind of elevates your response. So then when you're thinking about how can I actually make this a bullet point or something to showcase, on the bottom, you'll see where it says fundraising chair, Tuffy Student Org, 2016-2017. So this is kind of like when you're writing out your bullet points for a resume, you want to let them know your position, where that position was held and the time frame. And so here you can see led, that's the action, a committee to coordinate 6 fundraising activities, which was the purpose. They exceeded their goal by 10%, allowing a total of 80 students to participate in an educational conference, which is the result. So this is a super, this is a good way to begin laying out those bullet points and those accomplishments. You can detail this more in that document that is in the chat. I also include Bloom's text. I can't remember the name right now, but essentially there's a bunch of action verbs there that you can use on a resume because those are how you're going to highlight these accomplishments. And then you'll also see the career services resources listed there because what I'm talking about is just one way to do it and very base level, right? You can obviously go more into detail in this. So the career service does offer a variety of job and internship postings, resume and cover letter, workshops, and help, interview prep, career grad prep, career assessments, online resources, research opportunities, and a lot more. Currently, they have virtual drive-through and career specialist drop-in hours. So if you have a quick question, they have a link for you to join them. And even when you think about your Tuffy Awards nomination, if there's just something you need help with, or if you're trying to write this on a resume, that's a good resource to use. So I just want to make sure to give that to you all. Um, so now we kind of wrapped up. I'm going to share an announcement out, and then if anyone here has announcements, you can go ahead and share with the rest of the group if there's something that you'd like to invite people to or let them know what you're doing. So just wanted to throw it out there. Our last collab is Thursday, April 8th from 2 to 3:30. And this one would be super beneficial for you all to join because we'll be talking about transitions. So as we start thinking of wrapping up the semester, that means your student organization may be going through their nominations and elections, and you'll have a new president. And so not just for president, but all your board members, how do you properly transition to make sure they're well prepared? So I highly encourage you all to come. But that's it for the logistical piece of my organization, for my presentation. So I'll stop presenting now. However, if you do have questions or have announcements, please feel free to share now. Also, thank you, Danielle. Taxonomy. That's what I was looking for.